I guess the best way to start this video is by saying that I really didn't want to make this video in the first place. For years, I've avoided talking about other people that I have moral disputes with, and so as a result, I've never really made a video that has any sort of drama behind it. But unfortunately, as of recent, we sort of have a straw that broke the camel's back. There's been too much misinformation put out there, and so this video aims to combat a lot of that. This video was highly requested, and I even put it up to a vote before even deciding to pull a trigger and actually make it, so there's definitely a lot of people that wanted to see this video. Furthermore, there's no sponsor on this video because I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea with my motives of making it. I'm just here to clear up some toxic misinformation and hopefully guide people in the right direction. Last thing I want to say, I realized the title and the intro are a little bit dramatic. It was actually an idea that I got from a different comment, and I thought it was too good to not do. Without further ado, let's begin. So this metaphorical straw that broke the camel's back, what I'm talking about is these kind of videos. These have been pushed out en masse recently. So many random new creators are coming out of the woodworks and are just posting videos like this with usually scary or extremely misleading titles and thumbnails. The videos are also extremely short. Even seeing a video that's past 2 minutes and 30 seconds long is a surprise, and the actual video content is where I have most of my problems. Now, before we dig into the meat of this, I don't want anybody going to these channels and posting any sort of hate comments. You have to realize that just because these people's content is misinformed or misleading does not necessarily make the person a bad person. Instead, if you're going to go to any of these people's videos, I urge you to instead write a civil comment explaining the inaccuracies instead of hate. I don't endorse any hate towards these people whatsoever. It's just bad investing content. It's not that serious. The first channel we're going to start with here is Tristan. Now, this isn't actually Tristan's first time having a run-in with another creator. Now, this other creator pointed out probably one of the biggest issues with Tristan that I have, and that is that his entire channel and the entire point of him making this content is simply for his own personal monetary gain. Now, this is very obvious, and anybody who's actually watching his videos could figure this out, but let me go ahead and build the case. So firstly, this isn't Tristan's first time attempting to make money using sort of a trading market or an online game. As was exposed the first time he was called out, he's made a Rocket League trading ebook, something called Fortnite University, which I guess is supposed to be a play on like Hustlers University, I'm not really sure. And this time around, he's essentially created a profile on an external website that is sort of like a freelancing website, I guess, where you can pay him for one-on-one investing advice. Now, besides the exorbitant cost that he's charging for this one-on-one investment advice, the main issue is that he has no clue what he's talking about, and is simply making the content to try and profit off of your ignorance. I'll show you some clips that should speak for themselves, and I want to clarify that I'm not trying to cherry pick here, I just don't want to go ahead and show his entire videos.
Redeem them. Let's get straight into it. So, first of all, let me talk about the Anubis package, which is the newest collection. It's never been released in a souvenir package before, so it's logical that the hype around it is going to be much larger than hype surrounding the other packages.
Okay, so he recommends to invest in the Anubis package. Now, unfortunately, this claim is not sound. Anubis is new. It was just recently put into the map pool, and recently got its first iteration of its collection, which means that we can all but guarantee we're going to see more Anubis packages flooding the market in the next few majors. One of the biggest factors for the long-term success of souvenir packages is if the map is removed and not available in the tournament map pool. One of the big reasons Cobblestone was so successful, besides of course the fact that it has the dragon lore in it, is because it's unobtainable in recent majors. Once Cobblestone was removed, it was no longer possible to get more souvenir packages. And furthermore, history proves him wrong too. Ancient was also brand new, and the souvenir package's performance was extremely lackluster. After many months of not really moving much at all in price, it only saw a large increase due to CS2, which is obviously an external and unpredictable factor that you should not be investing off of.
So anyways, people are worried that the supply is just going to be way too low for these packages to grow in price, but the
low supply positively impacts price. Even the XM Blaze Orange, an extremely ugly skin, still has a fairly decently high price simply because it's hard to find one.
This package is going to be discontinued because Valve might swap Mirage out of the CSGO competitive map pool to replace it with Tuscan, a new map that Valve has bought officially very recently. The reason for this speculation is because Mirage hasn't received a huge overhaul update in a very long time, and there aren't any hints pointing us to the direction that Mirage will be getting an overhaul soon.
Change number 3. This is exactly what it says in the update. Added bench in mid, allowing jump up to window, boost spot, peek towards cat.
Now, ignoring the fact that many consider Mirage to already be a very balanced map, and the fact that it actually did get a somewhat recent update given Valve time, the other major inaccuracy with this clip is it completely ignores the fact that Mirage actually even got a new collection as well, and that was even more recent. But the biggest problem with this clip is the fact that the axiom of his argument is complete speculation. People just guessing that Mirage will get removed. Now, even if it does get removed, that type of speculation is literal gambling, not investing. Now this is sort of a situation where he used the wrong formula, but he still got the answer right, because the Mirage package is actually one of the better investments, but it's not for any of the reasons that he stated. Now I could go and show you the rest of the mini inaccuracies on his channel, but I have to talk about other creators as well. And Tristan, not even using your own footage for a sponsor is a bad look. Alright, so this next one is a real doozy, and there are a myriad of problems here. We'll start with the fear-mongering in the titles.
Absolutely crazy. It has dropped from 50 to 57 cents, dropping a total of 50 to 55 per capsule. But get this, the cherry on top is the price on Buff, where it's selling for 2.69 RMB each, which is only 38 cents each.
Alright, so besides the fact that that's exactly how Buff works, as other commenters have pointed out, the current price of Paris capsules is not unorthodox or unseen. And instead of accepting the fact that this was an inaccuracy, and he's obviously fear-mongering people for views here, he instead just writes everything off as hate, even though he's just factually incorrect here. Now hopefully no one expected great investment advice from someone whose inventory is literally just field-tested reds, not a single investment to be found, and I'm not poor shaming here, it's just that he has one of the most generic inventories I've ever seen in my entire life, and a very clear lack of success with investing. I mean, in the video where I literally gave a month to a complete investing noob, that noob made like a quarter of this guy's inventory value in a month. Now you don't have to personally be super successful with CSGO investing to make CSGO investing content. The main problem here isn't his inventory, it's just that his content is extremely misinformed and wrong. And it's not an insane extrapolation to say that it's because he has very little actual merit. He's made much of his YouTube career off of Paris, in fact, which makes a lot of sense considering that's the only major he's ever even bought a pass for. Now we'll delve into this video, which already has two fundamental problems just in the thumbnail and title itself. It's not possible to have that much wallet balance, and no profit is guaranteed, and that's an extremely toxic, misinformed statement to make.
Full price. When you've bought your Paris capsules, do not be greedy. I would even recommend that you set your sell orders immediately after buying them. For example, if you bought 50 capsules, immediately set your sell orders. Set 25 of your capsules to sell at a 15% gain and the last 25 at a 25% gain. That way, as soon as they hit your desired price, you will sell them immediately and instantly make your profit.
Okay, so besides the fact that he recommended buying on the Steam market instead of a cash trading website where you can get these capsules for a lot cheaper, he also recommended using sell orders on Steam, which is a horrible idea because you're already going to be taking a 15% loss just from the tax on Steam. Instead, selling on Buff, for example, will only net you a 2.5% loss due to marketplace tax. And also, sell orders here are a really terrible idea. Not to mention that the price points that he set for them are also horrible. When it comes to something like Paris, the prices are actually going to be extremely unpredictable. You'll either have completely dead sell orders for a long time, or the sell orders will be surpassed greatly. In fact, the sell orders that he recommends setting here are actually far below the peaks of Antwerp. The sell orders he recommends are actually very short term, when capsules are actually a long-term investment. It's not a good idea to try and make a sell order prediction like that. Rather, setting a sell goal target and then simply monitoring the market is a far better idea. Now that's not to say sell orders are a bad idea in general. They can be useful in some scenarios, but if you're a consistent investor, you might as well just be monitoring the market because you'll have an open window to sell your items off. You won't have to worry about crashes that are going to happen in a single hour.
Now, there's even speculation that Mirage may be removed in CS2, so there's potential for the same thing happening to this package. And with this strategy, there's even more options, such as the Anubis package. It's a brand new package in the game, bringing us new items with a brand new map, and that being CSGO's last map ever. This gives it that nostalgia and makes it special, and makes it that kind of thing that people go crazy for time and time again on the market.
Huh, interesting little coincidence there that both of these creators recommended the exact same packages. And really? Nostalgia? For Anubis? How new are you to CS? Fear-mongering and intentionally misleading people is already a bad thing, but giving them unmeritable, incorrect, and misinformed advice, you're misguiding people that are simply trying to educate themselves. You even went and made a video opening capsules, which directly promotes gambling to the same audience that you just built off of investing content. And he's not the only channel doing this. There are plenty of these brand new, basically short investing content channels that all seem to basically be on the same level when it comes to investing knowledge. One that you may have heard of is Friendly. Now to clarify, I don't really have much of a problem with Friendly. Most of his content is simply reporting news from Twitter, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I actually commend you for sticking to content that you're more comfortable making, and that you have more merit to make. Friendly, however, has made investing content, and it did have a pretty major inaccuracy in it.
Sometimes you lose because no one is able to predict the future, and that's why you shouldn't invest all your money in one specific item.
So diversification with CSGO investing is a fairly widespread myth, and I can't really blame you for saying it because so many people believe that diversification is the best option always. But when it comes to CSGO investing, we actually have a little bit bit of a different situation here than the normal stock market does, which is why concentration tends to be a better investment strategy. For example, if we look at my investment Odyssey, that series intentionally promoted diversification because it was more entertaining than just buying a single item. But if I were to concentrate and just buy a single item in a mass amount, I would have made way more money way quicker. And that's because CSGO doesn't suffer from the same problems that the stock market does. We don't have Great Depressions, we don't have stocks reaching $0, and different companies going bankrupt and their shares becoming worthless. We have an overarchingly positive market movement. To give you an analogy that kind of explains this a little bit better, diversification is if you had one egg in a whole bunch of different baskets. If one of those baskets breaks, you'll only have one egg break, and the other eggs will still be intact. Concentration is like having all of those eggs in one basket. That basket may break and you'll lose everything, or the basket might turn golden and the eggs are now way more valuable. That's kind of how it works in the stock market. But with CSGO, due to our overarching upward trend, it's very rare that we ever even have something crash like crazy. So in general, the concentration actually has a lot of safety behind it. And since we don't have those 0-day, completely valueless stocks, that means if one of your concentrated investments actually does crash, you can just simply hold it, and chances are it'll go back up when the market is more stable. Diversification is still safer, that is true, but it's not necessarily better. But again, I don't have a large problem with Friendly, unlike some of these other channels. But let's look at another channel.
Since they've got all the top teams, and some fantastic holos from teams like Nine and Furia. But historically, the Legends capsules have always been heavily invested in. And you can see this when you check the listing numbers of Antwerp 2022 capsules. There's over 40,000 more Legends capsules than any other option. This doesn't mean they won't rise in price, but it may take longer to get to the amount you're looking for, as it's a simple game of supply and demand.
Oh, I must be watching a TDMA Zeus video, or maybe it's one of the 15 people that copied his music choice. I don't know why they all do that. But anyway, this clip alone is filled with a large amount of inaccuracies. For starters, he hyper-focuses on the supply of Antwerp, when if he just takes a slight look to the right, he can see that Antwerp Legends capsules are the most expensive capsule available. He then goes on to say it's just a simple game of supply and demand, which is not the case at all. Anybody who is a seasoned CSGO investor knows that supply and demand are not a linear correlation in the CSGO market. Demand is absolutely king. We're not dealing with just faceless stocks here, we're dealing with more tangibility. These skins are usable in game, they have different appearances, different levels of rarity, different float values, different patterns, etc, etc, etc. Which means the more important factor here is not how many of a skin exists, but rather how many people want that skin. Let's look back at the XM Blaze Orange that I mentioned earlier in the video. It's an extremely rare item. There's only about 1/10 of the amount of Blaze Oranges in existence compared to Dragon Lores, and yet Blaze Oranges are worth about $70, while Dragon Lores are worth up to $14,000. Despite the Dragon Lore being far less rare, far surpasses the Blaze Orange's price, because more people want a Dragon Lore and not a Blaze Orange, and that's because supply and demand are not simply linearly correlated. It's more important to have your finger on the pulse in the CSGO markets and realize what people like. The reason the Antwerp Legends capsule is far more expensive despite the higher supply is because it possesses the Cloud9 holo and the Furia holo, much bigger chase stickers that are going to cause a lot more people to buy into the capsule to open it. Simply put, you can't analyze the CSGO market and make investment calls based purely off of supply numbers. That's just not how it works. Now, while I do feel like I've covered quite a lot here, I'm only simply scratching the surface when it comes to these type of YouTubers. There are a lot more of them out there, but unfortunately this video would get far too long for something that's just trying to correct misinformation. So if you do want me to make more videos like this, just let me know down in the comments below. I'm sure many of you have experienced watching these channels already. Since they've been farming the algorithm like crazy, they've been getting lots of views, but unfortunately have been providing toxic misinformation to their viewers. Now I also wanted to end this video with some recommendations for channels that are actually really great. I have personally watched these channels' videos and vetted them as providing not only really good, funny content, but their content is also very well informed and they have a lot of merit backing it up. So the channels are going to be on screen right now. I recommend all three of these people heavily. They make fantastic content and definitely actually have a solid knowledge base that they're going off of. So anyway guys, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully I was able to shine some light on the dark side of CSGO investing. I'm not going to ask for anything like likes or anything like that. I just simply wanted to make this for the posterity of the community. So hopefully you can go forward a more informed investor. And if you ever have some questions on CS investing, do not be afraid to reach out to me on Twitter or Discord or something like that. I'll answer all your questions completely free of charge. It's very immoral to lock this type of education behind a paywall. Anybody who's doing that is definitely in the wrong. I'll give you actually informed, logical, and historically successful investment tips completely for free. Anyway, that's going to be the end of the video. Thanks guys. See you next time. Peace.